How many you got now?
He kind of got mad at Chuck because he didn't show up.
12?
10, 12.
Well, I knew I wasn't going to be here.
Yeah, I knew that, but I called Chuck that day and I said, you know, we need you down there for a forum. You know, I got things to do. And I said, well, you know, you signed up to be on this board.
So what's going on with you, Ed?
Really not. I
You
just had
feeling
my
good?
eye lasered.
For what? You had cataracts done already, didn't you?
Yeah, I had that done. I don't know if this, that was about a year and a half, 2 years
that's
ago.
been a while.
And then they said I had a,
Yeah, we should be out here within 15 minutes.
Right now?
yeah.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Did you know that? Could you tell by your sight?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
I couldn't see anything.
out.
I mean, it was
Ooh,
just like
that's-
looking through a piece of wax paper.
Ooh, that was scary.
Just everything was a white blur.
Might even be sooner
You
than
did
that
it 4
because
years
it
ago.
looks like there's only
And
one.
they went up there and they said,
Oh, you
well,
went to the VA?
That's amazing. I thought it would be more people.
and they, I
Because
thought
last
it was
month
something
we
serious. I
missed
said,
it.
should I bring somebody along? And they said, no, you can drive back home.
It is what it is, right, Jim?
Parcel I'm looking at is unincorporated. It's
Unincorporated.
outside.
Thank you.
So I said, well, how long does it take? They said, well, about 5 minutes.
What's up, Chuck?
What the hell are you talking? You know, they put your chin in this thing, you look, and they bring this thing over. It's a bright light, and they don't move, don't blink, click. You know, about 5 clicks. Don't feel the goddamn thing.
Oh, I brought
And
my
I
own.
stopped, and of course I
We can get
couldn't
you
see
one.
anything because the
Light, yeah. well,
And then I said, you know, I can't see. Instead of everything's white, I said everything's black. What does that mean? And they said it'll be that way for a few
What,
minutes.
a month?
Right, just
Okay.
At least.
Wow.
fantastic.
Amazing.
Can't see
Sun
that.
is there, right?
It's amazing.
And that
isn't
didn't
it?
work. They'd have to search.
What?
Wow.
But I
got a house
was
there,
thinking,
too.
I haven't heard
When
of
you
that.
going on vacation this summer?
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't
You
know.
can't.
No.
They take a week here and a
you
week
couldn't feel
there.
anything. Well, I
I
see
never usually go.
flashes.
Maybe
Maybe
I mean-
six
I go over to
clicks,
the-
and that was about it.
You know, and I've had pictures taken of my eye with that bright light and the clicks. I'm not sure not any, no treatment, but I know that it's hard to keep the eye open. That's the hardest part. No.
So now
That's the hardest
this has
part.
always been my bad eye because I got hit in the eye with a PB when I was a kid.
Oh.
And so now this eye is better than this eye now. So I had to get I got new glasses coming, compliments of the U.S. government.
Oh, wow.
Better get it while you can.
Are you ready, Mr. Schwartz?
We are ready.
Ah. And we have everyone here. Is this everyone? My God.
Except for,
We're doing this just for you guys. Okay, this is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of the city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of this board is final. In respect, it does not go to the mayor or city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in the court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory board to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. Final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferguson? Mr. McCauley?
Here.
Ms. Powers?
here,
Mr. Rakes?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. Hennessy?
Here. Okay.
Mr. Chair, first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, and a motion would be in order for the approval of the December 20th, 2018 Zoning Board of Appeals minutes.
Motion will be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Call the roll.
Ms. Powers?
aye.
Mr. Rakes?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
I have passed. I wasn't present.
The next item on the agenda, item 4, is citizens to be heard on agenda items. And this section is for anyone wanting to speak on regarding items listed on the agenda, except for those that are listed under a public hearing. And actually today, I think we only have public hearing items. So with that, we'll just continue on in the agenda. Under number 5 on the agenda, old business, this is a public hearing. It's petition number 2018-63, a variation of use to allow continuation of a 4-unit, which is an R4 multifamily residential use in an R3 1 and 2 family residential zoning district on a property that has existing nonconformities located at 426 through 432 Elwood Street. Is the petitioner here?
Yeah, I believe he just came in at Is that him?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll summarize the staff report. Again, this is a request for a variation of use to allow continuation of that 4-unit located at 426 through 432 Elwood Street. And this type of request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, the property in question sits at the southwest corner of Elwood Avenue and Parks Avenue and is a 6,530 square feet in size. The 2-story building was constructed before 1898 as a single-family home. Around 1907, a substantial 2-story addition was constructed on the north and east elevations, effectively doubling the building size. And the building was converted into a 4-unit at this time. And then attached in your packet is the 1898 map. Research from available Polk Street directories shows that the building housed 4 households from the very early 1900s to the early 2010s. The 1968 zoning map shows this property was zoned R3, 1 and 2 family residential, which has remained to the present. The 1979 Northeast Neighborhood Plan recommended that this parcel and surrounding area retain its R3, 1 and 2 family residential zoning. The city discovered that the property did not have the correct zoning for a 4-unit when the Division of Neighborhood Services reviewed the rental inspection program case file for this property because the property required recertification. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character to the north is R3, 1 and 2 family residential. To the south is R2, single family residential. And to the east and west also R2, single family residential. Applicable regulations include permitted principal uses as well as prohibited uses in the R3 zoning district, as well as the definition of a variation of use. Under discussion, the original part of this building was built as a single-family home prior to 1898, and around 1907, that addition, a 2-story addition was constructed on the north and east elevations, doubling the size. The building was converted into a 4-unit at this time. The building has now functioned as a 4-unit for over 100 years. However, the building as it's currently configured does not meet current code requirements for a 4-unit. Only 2 of the units have full bathrooms. The other 2 units share a full and a half bath, which are located in the shared hallways. The International Property Maintenance Code requires each unit to have its own bathroom with either a bathtub or a shower. The 2 units without full bathrooms would need to be updated to code in order to be issued a certificate of inspection from the Division of Neighborhood Services, which would allow this building to be occupied as a 4-unit. The existing building layout is attached. Staff from the Division of Neighborhood Services inspected the property on February 6, 2019. They believe that the building could be a viable 4-unit with some reconfiguration of the existing space. This could be accomplished by adding walls to close off access to common areas and adding a full bath for one of the units, which has been made as a condition of approval of this petition. A potential future layout is attached. The zoning ordinance requires 6 off-street parking spaces for a 4-unit. The property has off-street parking for 3 cars. As a condition of approval for a certificate of inspection, the property owner will need to create 3 additional off-street parking spaces. The property has sufficient space to accommodate those 3 additional spaces. 2 spaces can be created in the rear yard with alley access, and another 1 space could be created adjacent to the existing garage bays. The proposed location of these parking spaces is attached. Approval of this request would result in the continuation of a 4-unit building at this location, which would be subject to the parking and code requirements outlined in the suggested conditions of approval. Denial of this request may result in the long-term vacancy and further disinvestment at this corner property. Denial may lead to eventual condemnation of the building due to the cost of converting a large 4-unit building into a 2-unit building, which is what the building is currently zoned. If the zoning board desires to recommend approval of this variation of use request for a 4-unit in an R3 1 and 2 family residential district, the following conditions would be included. 1, that a minimum of 2 parking spaces shall be created prior to the issuance of a certificate of inspection. for the third unit, and 1 parking space shall be created prior to the issuance of a certificate of inspection for the fourth and final unit. The total number of off-street parking spaces for a 4-unit shall be 6 spaces. Condition 2, that the 3 existing off-street parking spaces shall remain in the future. 3, that each unit shall comply with the International Property Maintenance Code requirements for separate housekeeping units, which includes the creation of at least 1 full bathroom for each unit. Condition 4, that the property owner shall have 6 months from the date of ordinance approval to complete parking and code requirements for a 3rd unit. 5, that the property owner shall have 1 year from the date of ordinance approval to complete parking and code requirements for a 4th unit. 6, that the property owner shall enter into a memorandum of understanding with the city's Division of Neighborhood Services that outlines these conditions and timelines, as well as other approvals necessary to meet code requirements. Number 7, if the property owner does not make the required improvements within the established 6-month and 1-year timeframes, the city may initiate a repeal process for the variation of use. 8, that the use of the property shall not be expanded in the future. And 9, should the property be declared a public nuisance by the city council, the variation of use is automatically revoked. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Petitioner present. I'm going to come up to the lectern, please.
¿Me puede traducir?
We need an interpreter.
Yeah.
Do you mind doing
¿Sí?
it? Technically, she's here to run our meeting, but she will try to assist if it doesn't impede the meeting.
Okay, tell him he has to be sworn
the
in.
flow of the meeting.
Sir, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Could I have your name and address? Your name?
Roberto Arteaga Carrillo.
Okay, and do you live at this location?
¿Usted vive allí en la propiedad?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the conditions that have been stated? Do you understand those?
Sí entiende las condiciones que están en el reporte que va a
Yes.
tener que...
Sí.
Okay. Do you agree with those?
Está de acuerdo.
Sí.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions by the board?
I have a couple of questions. How is it that something that had so few full bathrooms kind of got, I mean, how was that not found before? Has something changed? Do you know how that all worked out? I mean, if it's been a 4-unit for 100 years, but only has, you know, a couple, how did that?
100 years ago, they didn't have inside plumbing.
Well, that's true. Oh, I think they did.
You didn't
I think
need
they
'em.
did. I think they did. But anyway, how would that have, I mean,
However you're comfortable.
I'm not sure that this gentleman would know, but I'm just wondering how that happened.
Well,
curious
the only information I have is based on what I read from the staff report, and that is that the Division of Neighborhood Services that manages the rental inspection program discovered these deficiencies
Just recently.
just recently.
So it hasn't been inspected before this? I mean, you don't know.
I don't know that.
How
Okay.
long has he owned the property?
Since 2016, it
Ya
says.
tengo 2 años
2016?
y
Yeah.
medio que compré.
He purchased 2.5 years ago.
Speak on the mic, hon.
He purchased the property 2.5 years
2016,
ago.
okay.
Okay, my other question is there a code violation list if it's been inspected? Is this the only violation that there is, or are there other code violations?
There may be, but those are germane to the rental inspection process. This is simply a request to authorize, you know, four units, which is what the building was
Yeah,
originally
I understand that.
constructed for.
So, can I ask one more question? Are there only 2 units now how many units are being rented right now? Are they all 4 rented, or how many are rented now?
¿Cuántos están rentados?
No, ni uno. Solamente
None
vivo
are
yo.
rented. It's
None
just-
are rented.
He is just occupying one unit.
You live, okay. All right, so it will not become a complete 4-unit until up to a year from now, when everything is done. So nothing else can be rented except 2 units until all these other things are completed? Is that correct?
No, it would need to pass rental inspection program if he has 2 units.
That, but I mean, he can't rent 4 units until all that stuff is done.
Correct. There's
Okay.
there's the 2 conditions that kind of tie him into a time frame. A 6-month time frame to add a 3rd unit.
Right.
Obviously meeting all the requirements of the neighborhood services inspection process. And then a year to have that 4th unit, again, subject to parking requirements and meeting the neighborhood services inspection.
Okay.
Any other questions by the board?
Sorry.
Un año.
Yeah,
6 meses.
I concur with what the staff has stated,
So, sí.
that if he meets the code requirements and reconfigures the property, otherwise it'd probably go into default and just remain empty and just become another problem. So with that, if there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor, is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
I'll move to approve this with the conditions of will Neighborhood Services oversees all of this?
Yes.
So there will be periodic inspections of the bathroom situation and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
And this, you can announce that this will require council approval, so we'll be in touch with him. We'll follow up with him after. Okay. The next item on the agenda, the next portion of the agenda is old business for items that don't have a public hearing. We don't have any business. Item 7, any new business requiring a public hearing. There is one petition, and that is petition 2019-01. This is a special use permit to allow the installation of an electric security fence as an accessory use for the existing business located at 251 Republic Avenue. The petitioner in this case is Electric Guard Dog LLC, represented by Cindy Williams. The owner of the property is Mackenzie Properties LLC. The location is 251 Republic Avenue. And this is, again, a special use for an electric security fence as an accessory use for the existing truck repair facility. As per the applicable zoning code section regarding special uses in all industrial districts, electric fences may be allowed as a special use by the mayor and city council with the advice of the Zoning Board of Appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Under site-specific information, the site is 150 feet by 445 feet, or roughly 66,750 feet, 1.53 acres. The property is zoned I-1 Light Industrial. A special use permit to allow a towing and auto repair business at the site was approved in September 2010. The towing business was never implemented at the site, therefore the special use permit lapsed. A special use permit request to allow a truck repair business was approved by the City Council in September of 2013. An amendment to the approved special use permit was approved in November 2016 to allow additional truck parking. This case before you was filed on November 28th of 2018. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the zoning in the vicinity of the site includes commercial and industrial, which is zoned I-1 Light Industrial, to the north, south, and east, as well as a regional bike path, formerly the Joliet Junction Railroad, located an undeveloped property zoned I-1 to the west. Applicable regulations include special uses in all industrial districts and special uses, the criteria for approval. And that criteria list is attached to your report as a worksheet. Under discussion, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow the installation of an electric security fence as an accessory use for the existing truck repair facility. JND Truck Repair currently occupies the existing 15,600 square foot metal warehouse at the site. The business operation performs truck detailing and truck repair inside the building. JND Truck Repair does not buy, sell, or lease trucks at the Republic Avenue location. Long-term truck storage is not permitted at the site. A site plan is attached that illustrates the location of the existing 6-foot-high fence and the proposed location of the electric fence. Hours of operation are currently set at Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. In an effort to better secure their property, the owner would like to install an electric fence around the property. The city recently enacted an ordinance to allow electric fences as part of an approved special use permit when meeting the following criteria. 1, International Electrical Code Standard 60335-2-76. Unless otherwise specified, electric fences shall be constructed or installed in conformance with the specifications in the International Electrotechnical Commission standard. 2, electrification. A, the energizer or power supply for electric fences must be driven by a commercial storage battery not to exceed 12 volts DC. The storage battery is charged primarily by a solar panel. However, the solar panel may be augmented by a commercial trickle charger. B, the electric charge produced by the fence upon contact shall not exceed energizer characteristics set forth in paragraph 22.108 and depicted in figure 102 of the International Electrical Code Standard number 60335-2-76. And number 3, a perimeter fence or wall is required. No electric fence shall be installed or used unless it's completely surrounded by a non-electrical fence or wall that is not less than 6 feet in height. 4, location. Electric fences shall be permitted on any non-residential outdoor storage areas. An electric fence shall be located a minimum of 12 inches inside a separate non-electric fence, which fully encloses the perimeter of the electric fence, with the exception that any electrified gates shall be permitted to be no less than 3 inches from the separate non-electrified gates, so long as the non-electrified outer gates are covered in a durable mesh material that prohibits human contact with the electrified gates. Number 5, on height, electric fences shall have a maximum height of 10 feet. 6, warning signs are required. Electric fences shall be clearly identified with warning signs that read, quote, warning electric fence in English and Spanish at intervals of not less than 60 feet or as warranted by the Building and Inspectional Services Division. 7, registration is required. Electric fences shall be governed and regulated under burglar alarm regulations and permitted as such as registered in accordance with the alarm system registration requirements of the Joliet Police Department. 8, emergency access. Electric fences shall be designed in such a manner that the system is de-energized upon activation of emergency access. 9, landscape maintenance. The area located between the electric fence and the perimeter security fence shall be properly maintained to inhibit the growth of weeds. 10, permits required. A fence permit and an electrical permit shall be required. And in the packet, the attached site plan notes and notes illustrate that the criteria of the ordinance will be met. The approval of the special use permit, subject to the above criteria, should not alter the essential character of the area. And should the board choose to approve or recommend approval of this special use permit, staff recommends that the following conditions be attached. 1, that should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And 2, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit, in this case a fence permit, or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 180 days of the effective date of this ordinance, and the erection or alteration of a building is started or the use is commenced within such period. The board may grant an extension of this period valid for no more than 180 additional days upon written application and good cause shown without notice or hearing. Whether or not there is an intention to abandon the special use if any special use is discontinued for a continuous period of 1 year, or if an intent to abandon special use is evident in a shorter period of time, the special use for such use shall become void, and such use shall not thereafter be reestablished unless a new special use is obtained. That is basically standard language that we apply to special use permits. It's a little different here because it's not a building that's being approved. it's an accessory fence.
Okay.
That concludes staff's
Mr.
report.
President, welcome back.
Thank you.
I have to swear you in before you swear at us.
I wouldn't do that.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your names and addresses.
Cindy Williams, 550 Assembly Street, Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm with Electric Guard Dog, who is the petitioner.
Edward Hugaker, 12241 Maggie's Way, Mokina, Illinois, and I work for J&D Truck Repair.
Okay, any comments you'd like to make in behalf of your petition?
We're just here to answer any questions that you may have. This is the first one that has come before you
Wonderful.
since the City Council approved the
I've got
code.
one.
Okay.
You've got the protection on the outside for people on the exterior. What about, is there any protection on the inside? I mean, what if there were kids running around there someday or something? And is there anything on the interior to protect it?
No, it is not. There's not a separate fence on the inside. All of the employees are aware of the fence and how it works. If someone does come in contact with it, it's an unpleasant fence. I mean, it's an unpleasant touch, but it's nothing that will harm them. And
Is there any opportunity for, like, people just be wandering around there, for kids or anything?
No, that's why there's the separation. That's why this was vetted with City Council, and they came up with the 12-inch distance between the perimeter non-electrified fence and the electrified fence.
What kind of a charge is that? I mean, compared to, say, like a laser or something,
It's
or a taser?
a taser. It's very, very much less than a taser. A taser goes off 19 times a second. This fence it's pulsed every 1.5 seconds. A taser is much stronger.
Is this going to shock you, or is it going to knock you backwards? Or?
No, it cannot knock you, doesn't knock you backwards. I've touched it. I touch it about once a year. I have to touch it about once a year, and it's not something that you want to do, but it's certainly not something that I am injured after doing. It's kind of akin to walking across a carpeted carpet floor in a really dry day and touching a doorknob. The static touch that you get, that's about the feeling that you get. Very, very, very short, 1/10,000th of a second in duration.
Have there been problems there?
It's not on.
And also, it's only going to be run, it's really an alarm system, and it's just like when you turn your alarm on when you leave and you turn it off when you come in.
That's what I was going to ask. Does that set off an alarm to the police department or something? Or?
It sets off an alarm if someone breaks the circuit for more than 5 seconds. It doesn't go to the police. It's just like one of your home, like an ADT alarm or something. It will call the business, and then they will make a determination as to whether to dispatch.
And have they had problems on the site, or what prompted this?
We've had quite a few homeless people take up shelter in box trucks and inside sleepers. Just this last summer, we had a young man, I had a guy delivering a truck during the day over Memorial Day weekend, and a gentleman had jumped the back fence, and we don't know if he was going through trucks or whatever, but I've got trucks that are on property that are valued between $40,000 to $150,000 at a single time.
Do they target your location for a
We've not
reason, or is that for the whole?
It's for the whole industry. We do a lot of work with used truck dealerships where we service their trucks and prep them for their sale.
The trucks are the attraction that they.
Class 8. I mean, a single tire on a Class 8 tractor is anywhere between $200 to $550 just for a tire. Then you throw an aluminum rim on there, that's another $250. So it adds up pretty fast. So we'd rather be proactive than reactive. In this matter.
Okay, I've always wanted to have curly hair. I was wondering if I could come up there.
I don't think it'll do that.
Is that enough of a charge to
It is.
dissuade people, though? I mean,
is.
it doesn't sound like.
It is.
very
It's,
much.
well, first of all, you post the sign. There was a picture of the sign on the site plan that says warning electric fence. That sign doesn't say, warning, this is a battery-powered fence, warning, this is a safe fence, warning, this fence won't hurt you. It says warning electric fence. Most of the bad guys, that's enough to deter them. And when they see that, they don't even attempt. I mean, we have these fences all over we have about 4,500 of these fences all over the country. Trucking terminals and trucking industry is the #1 customer because they're targets for crime. And these customers are telling us that when we install this fence, our crime drops to nothing. It really does. It's very effective deterrence.
And the charge will only be on when there's nobody working, or is it on?
Right, it's just like
I mean,
an
is that what
alarm.
I think that's what I understood.
There's a keypad. It really, truly is a burglar alarm system. There's a keypad, and you, just like you would an alarm when you leave your house, you turn it on when you leave, you turn it off when you come in. If somebody does break that circuit, it will set off an audible alarm, just like one at your house would, and it will place a call to a monitoring company.
Anybody else want to get a shock here?
I know years ago, back in the 60s, I mean, many of the businesses along Republic Avenue had those electric fences, but they weren't protected by a perimeter fence.
They didn't have the safety precautions that we have included.
Right, and a few of my buddies and myself will attest that it does give you a little shock.
You were probably trying to get it on the Schlitz brew house there.
That was one of the ones that...
Yeah, I figured you targeted that. Any other questions by the board?
I will say that the safety and the safety criteria was vetted very thoroughly by staff and by two of your standing committees, the Public Safety Committee and the Land Use Committee.
Land use and legislative.
And they vetted this very thoroughly. We've been doing this probably for almost close to a year now. And then City Council did vote to approve the text amendment. So safety precautions and all have been thoroughly vetted by your city.
I'm surprised that there aren't more people from the area down here interested in it. I thought we'd have some, not objectors necessarily, but people that would be more curious.
I think we'll be back. I think we have 2 more applications coming. There's a FedEx that's applying for it, and there's one other business, I believe, so we'll probably be seeing you again at future meetings.
Well, let's hope we have a quorum for you next time.
Yes, that would be nice.
Okay, is anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is anyone opposed? Bob, do you have any opposition? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the petition. Please poll the board.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
We passed unanimously. That's a shock.
So this will be scheduled for City Council. I'll be in touch with you to confirm the date.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. I said that wouldn't deter
Next
anybody
month.
necessarily.
No, it'll be in March.
Yeah.
I have to look at the calendar and see if, there's 2 meeting opportunities during the month, but there's a lead, council manager has a deadline for us to get things.
Yeah.
Be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item,
We apologize for the inconvenience last time.
the next portion of your agenda is item 8, new business. For items not requiring a public hearing, we have no business. Number 9 is public comments for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items. I don't see anybody here, so we'll move on, and the final item would be adjournment, unless I do have one thing to add. You had I probably should get in the habit of telling you, we had a council action the other night, one item that went through ZBA and then on to council. That is a request for a variation of use to allow a 5-unit building at 301 South Ottawa Street. The zoning board did recommend approval of that, and the council on Tuesday evening recommended denial of that request on a 7 yes vote to 1 no vote. So that was, just wanted to give you that update.
Thank you.
That's all I have for staff comments. And the next item of business, unless anyone else has anything, would be adjournment.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Poll the board.
Mr. McCauley?
I don't even think that requires it.
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Yes, I'll vote aye because we're not on, it wasn't significant to even put us on TV.